Hi, I'm Laura, and it is day 10 of Inktober. So the theme for day 10 was pattern, and the first thing I thought of was drawing 3 girls wearing an excessive amount of patterns that kind of clash. I thought it'd be fun to draw characters whose clothing style is like stripes with polka dots and camo with plaid, crazy things that you're not encouraged to do, and I just thought it'd be fun to draw a group of girls hanging out. I decided to do it in the woods because I'm currently working in a woodsy environment, so that's generally what I thought of first. And one thing that was unintentional, but I realized after I started coloring in the middle girl, is that her color scheme kind of gives me a Gerudo from Legend of Zelda vibe, which I actually am kind of happy with because I really enjoy The Legend of Zelda. So having a modern day version of a Gerudo girl is actually pretty fun. So I just drew them all doing different things, trying to give them distinct personalities, and this is what I came up with, so I hope you like it. So I already did a video explaining what Inktober is, so now I'm gonna get right into the art. So again, I have my sketchbook. It originally was just gonna be Inktober at first, but I ended up sketching a bunch at the airport. So here's some of the sketches. So yeah, I was just trying to draw photos I had. There was a mermaid, but whatever. Anyway, so now I have this page to work on. And since I'm at home for a wedding this weekend, I have a limited amount of supplies. So I have my own art supplies. So I have these actual inks. I'm not sure if they're still good. It looks like the pigment's kind of separated. Can I shake it to fix it? But yeah, so this is one of the art supplies I have. Oh yeah, that yellow. Super separated. Yeah, so they might not be any good, but I have them. I'll look into that. Anyway, I have that. I have this for mixing. I got cups that I need to put water in because I didn't think to do that ahead of time. And then I have this little travel pack activity set, which doesn't really have much ink. This is what it has. It has these paints I've used, but it has these little markers, so I can use those if I really want to use those markers. I also have these Sharpie fine tip markers. I think they're kind of dying. I don't remember. These might be good, actually. I had gel pens. Oh, those gel pens did not last very long, especially the colors I wanted. Gone. And I have these massive poster markers, which I've never used before, as you can tell, because they're in a box. Oh, wait, they're connected. I don't know why they're connected, if it means something, but I have these massive markers. Yeah. Anyway, so today's prompt is snow, which is kind of white, so I'm kind of disappointed because I'm like, but I have all these colors in the ink paint now. But yeah, I already did a snow scene already, as you can see. Pretty simple. So I was given the suggestion to paint my cat Snowball. May she rest in peace, and I kind of want to do that because I love Snowball. But she's also white, so maybe I'll do her in like a cool, colorful background and be kind of like, oh, it's snow, and then just have a spring garden with a cat and be like, the cat's name is Snowball. Yeah. So I think I might do that, actually, because I really want to paint her, and I think it would be cool to have the background be colorful and her be more neutral. So yeah, let's get to it. So I already explained my logic behind why I decided to draw this, and I just really like my cat, and I wanted an opportunity to use my inks. So one thing though is I didn't actually have any gray ink because she's mostly white with orange and gray fur, so I kind of mixed the yellow and red to get an orange shade, and I used a lot of water to make it light. And then to get the gray spots, I actually scribbled with one of the magic markers from the kit I had onto the paper plate and got it wet to try to use it like a paint, which actually worked fairly well. Now, it doesn't mix as good as other paints and things like that, but since I just needed it to make a couple small spots, it worked out. My only issue with this is I didn't think to put the blue flowers on different sides and disperse the color, so it's kind of lopsided, but I still really like it because Snowball's my baby. So then for the next theme, it was dragon, which I didn't actually feel in the mood to draw a dragon, and my little sister was like, draw a sea dragon, and at first I thought of a different sea creature called a deep sea dragonfish, which is actually really scary and ugly looking. But then when I looked up sea dragon, I saw a relative to the seahorse, which is super colorful and cool looking. So I tried to do it with the inks. I definitely think this is something better with the inks than it would have been with markers, so I'm glad that I had access to them for this day. And I tried to color in the background, and my only regret is I put a bit too much green in the water part, too close to the green part of the fish. So if I did it again, I would consider putting the colors of the water in different locations and making it more purpley, especially around that segment. But overall, I do like how this turned out, and I hope you do too, despite its flaws. So it is day 18 of Inktober, and I am really behind. I haven't really gotten to do any Inktober stuff since I came back. So I have actually brought some books with me, which is exciting, but I really haven't gotten to do Inktober just due to everything I have drawn, but it wasn't for Inktober, it was just for fun. But yeah, so I am very behind, which instead of giving up and starting over, which is what I probably could just start from where I left off, I'm going to try to do something for every prompt, because even though the goal was to draw every day, I think it's really fun to do every single prompt. So I'm going to try to do that, and I'm going to film some clips from all of them, but I'm not sure if I'll do all of them. So yeah, let's see. I am going to draw all of them, but I'm not sure if I'll do clips for all of them. So if I said that weird, that's what I'm going to do. So let's get to it. Then for Ash, the first thing I thought of was a girl in a fire surrounded by ashes. My mom, when she saw this, was like, "You drew someone burning alive." But my intention in this drawing was to actually show her being resistant to the fire, but everything around her being burned. So the girl is not being burned alive because she is fireproof, which obviously is super apparent from my drawing. Actually, not really, but I had fun drawing this one, and I definitely think the black background helped. It didn't look as good until I added it, but it took a long time to color in around the embers and around the little coals and the floating sparks in the sky. But overall, I like how it turned out. I didn't really use the whole page. The bottom half is white because didn't feel like coloring it in, because I just cut it out in all the photos I took anyway. But I do like how it turned out. And one thing I really thought made it look cool was I tried to reflect the firelight off the edges of the girl in a sort of line art way. So the next thing I ended up drawing was for the day 14 overgrown. And for that, I drew it after day 14 because I was desperately trying to catch up. But I drew this haunted house, and originally I started with the house, and I then looked up kudzu vines, and I realized every single one I looked up was just completely green, which I didn't want to cover up everything I drew, so I just drew it in certain areas. And the picture reference I used for this part had a girl standing here. And I drew the shape of the girl, and then I drew the vines everywhere, and part of me wanted to connect them. So I actually made it some sort of evil vine that grows and into people and kills them, and then sprouts a red flower out of their head. So I actually have several red flowers in this, if you can see it. And yeah, this is kind of a creepy Halloween-y one. And part of me wishes Inktober had a bit more like Halloween-y themed stuff, but I enjoyed drawing it. And then for Legend, of course, I had to draw a Link from The Legend of Zelda. I tried to do something with the background, but I'm not sure if this was a good choice. But overall, I think I did pretty good with his character, and I think this is probably one of the better people I drew because I used a reference. I drew him based on the Hyrule Warriors Link, and I think it turned out good. Obviously, I changed it so he doesn't have the blue scarf. I didn't want to do exactly the Hyrule Warriors Link. I just enjoyed his face. And then after that, I did Wild, and I wanted to do another Halloween-y thing because I was inspired to draw a Halloween-like character. So for that, Wild, that makes me think werewolf of any Halloween-type creature. So I drew a girl who was like werewolf, but not entirely. And so she just killed, and there's blood everywhere. And one thing I liked that I did about this is that I colored the background in and left white around her. And I think it just made a quicker process, and I think it looks kind of cool for the picture. And it looks very cartoony, but that's what I was going for. And I'm pretty proud of how I got her to position, because it was a bit difficult, and I googled an example, and then I also changed some things to make her look different. So I had a model, but this isn't exactly what she looked like. And then next I did ornament, and I had an idea to do a ballerina trapped inside of an ornament. In my first attempt I wasn't the happiest with, so then I did it again, and I like my second attempt a lot better. I think it's better position, and this is what I ended up doing. So you can see it's a glass ornament and it's broken, and one thing that you see is that what is shown in between the shattered glass that reveals what is actually inside of it is different. So it kind of references like rose colored glass, where when you see through it, it's a lot nicer than what you see when you look without it. So that was my idea for it. I think it turned out pretty cool, and I like how it looks. And then next for Misfit, I thought what I drew was really cute. I did a little puzzle with a little puzzle piece that doesn't quite belong or fit, of a little derpy fish. And I like how this turned out. I think the background is very pretty and saturated, and the fish is very cute. My only thing that I wish I did different is I wish I didn't do a green tree where I put the fishes. I think it would have stood out more if I put the blue of the water in front of orange, or a red or yellow instead of green, because blue and green are a bit closer, and it would have been more contrast if the color was more extremely different where the piece was. And then for sling, the first thing I thought of for some reason was a hedgehog in a slingshot. So I drew a hedgehog in a slingshot, and that's about it. Not too much thought went into it. And then I kind of like went crazy doodling. And then for tread, I was getting tired, so I drew something really simple. And that is a little cat with paw prints. I remember I watched a video of a let's play of a video game where there was a cat, and for some reason they did a little X for the butthole of the cat, which I thought was funny. So I did that for my cat drawing. I just think it's funny. I'm immature, whatever. And then after day 20, I was caught up, and then a lot of stuff happened with my life, and it's still happening, and I'm pretty preoccupied. Now, the thing is, I do have free time, but due to the circumstances, I feel very like mentally preoccupied, and I don't want to be doing intense drawings. And I got home and I was like, oh, I can use my inks and stuff, but I don't really have like the time to make the big mess and do it in my room, because I probably would have to do it downstairs. So I did try day 21 to try to catch up, because I was already behind, but it kind of turned out messy, and I would rather redo it. But for treasure, I did an undersea scene with a mermaid and like the skull, and then she stole the hat off the skeleton and the bone is on it. I think it's a cute concept, well, disturbing concept. And then for ghost, I wrote a quote from a real grave I saw at where I'm working, and it's a really cool quote. So, and I drew the ghost that's kind of like see-through with just the lines, and then a modern girl, because this is a Revolutionary War soldier. And like, I tried something, but obviously you can see it's very messy. I didn't color them in that well, and the truth is I'm getting a little bit tired of Inktober, and I'm definitely glad I did it, but I think I'm done with this Inktober. And so, since this is my first one, I'm going to give my thoughts. So some things is, the prompts weren't always my favorite, and I do think that sometimes I probably should have went with what I thought of, but I also really enjoyed having prompts because it forced me to work and try other things. I think my biggest issue with it was I did have ideas of some things I wanted to draw. So like, I drew this picture of a girl where her eyes and eyebrows and lips and hair is all like colored with words and bright, whereas the rest is black and white. And like, I did everything with ink except her face. I actually did pencil except for the line art part. And I enjoyed this, and doing Inktober really inspired me to draw, and is part of the reason why I drew this, but I couldn't think of a prompt to fit this in. So I feel like Inktober sort of got me into the mood for drawing and inspired me to draw, but then when I got to the point, I started to want to draw different things. And also with the example of the cat, besides the cat, I have a tendency to draw way too much. Like the mermaid one, I tried to color in the whole background, which is fine, but when I'm being this rushed, I need to have the self-control just to draw the outline or just to color it in like this. And I've seen other people who just do the sketch with the line art and it looks good, but for some reason I keep being like, oh, I have to keep it, I have to make a complete drawing, and it's kind of getting to the point where I'm no longer happy with a lot of what I did. Like the last two things I don't particularly like, and honestly I'd redo them like I redid the ballerina if I had the time. And so I'm really glad that Inktober fueled my creativity, and I really like what I drew. But part of me now has gotten to the point where I want to draw what I want to draw when I want to draw it instead of doing the prompts, which is part of the reason why I'm taking a break. And another thing is, ink is like one of my less favorites mediums of art, and it was fun to use markers and things like that. And I definitely think if I had more time, I could make better things, because I think when I got to use an ink with a paintbrush, it was great. A great change of pace. Like, I actually really like how this turned out, and this one isn't perfect, but I really like this. And I also liked using the mixed medium for this one. So I think using ink was good practice, and it's definitely something I plan to do again. Like having to try with the ink to color in the hair. I did the shinies. It was a unique way to change my style up, and I'm glad I did it. But I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm a bit tired of drawing with ink every day, and I want to just relax. And also, since I am into writing is my biggest passion, and NaNoWriMo is coming up, I want to take the focus off Inktober and more on finishing my outline so I can write in November and hopefully finish a draft of my novel. So I'm definitely glad I did Inktober, and I am happy to wrap up with you, and I'd love to hear what you drew, but I think I am finished. I made it. I did 22 out of 31 art pieces, and it seems a bit late to be giving up because I probably could catch up if I wanted to, but I just want to decompress and try other things. Like, I have more pages of art than I do Inktober. Like, I didn't count the one of the girl with the colorful hair as one. I have a couple sketches in here of pencil. Like, I drew this page. This isn't for Inktober. I've definitely done ink art every day, but I haven't done the prompts. So technically I could have passed if I just posted my doodles. Like, I did this really weird SpongeBob crappy thing. I don't know. And then, like, I just, like, did terrible doodles with ink that I'm not going to show you because they're terrible. But, like, real quick. Like, I did really bad sketches with ink because I cannot sketch with ink because I need to be able to erase. But that was more of just to loosen my wrist and let me think about things while just doodling crappy stuff. And my point is, I'm glad I did Inktober. I definitely want to try it again, and I also want to see if there's an art prompt thing where it doesn't specify a medium. I know there's Mermaid, which I've heard of, where you draw a mermaid every day of May, which also sounds fun, but then it's like you're drawing the same type of thing every day, and there's a lot of creative ways you could do it, so I might try it and hopefully have more time than I do now, because honestly, my job that I currently have, like, during the week, I have literally no free time. Like, I have all my breaks I spend working on what I'm going to do while I'm working, and then when I'm done the job, it's go to bed and wake up for tomorrow. So, I'm not complaining. I really like my job, but the point is, I haven't really had time to do it, and I really like how this one has a bunch of different prompts, but I am kind of feel a bit like, why do I have to do the same medium each time? So one thing is, if there's a month where they do an art thing and it's like a different prompt for each day, but you could use whatever medium you want, I would love to do that. So if anyone knows one, that would be really fun to do. And for now, I think I wrapped up pretty good. I might still make art. Part of me wants to try to do a video where I try to make art using nail polish, because I think that would be a fun craft. And I want to still do some art challenges and art videos, but I think I am content with Inktober for this year. So again, I'd love to hear how it went for you. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you later.